Welcome to the Daily Drop on Pro Ball Daily. I'm Mike.
And I'm Tara. And Mike, we've got to kick things off with what might be the most baffling, whiplash-inducing statistical anomaly I've seen all season. We're talking about the NBA's Atlanta Hawks and their incredible disappearing act, and then reappearing act, and then disappearing again.
You are not wrong, Tara. The Hawks, who somehow managed to shoot a dismal 55% from the field in February, that's a whopping 13.1 points below their season baseline, then turn around in March and torch the Nets at an absurd 87% field goal percentage, which is nearly 20 points above their season average. And then, just as quickly, they fall off a cliff again in April, back down to 50%. What in the actual world is happening in Atlanta?
It's like they're playing musical chairs with their jump shots. One month, they're Steph Curry. The next, they're me trying to shoot a free throw. Seriously though, Mike, an 87% month for an entire team is unheard of, bordering on physically impossible. Are we sure the statisticians didn't just accidentally transpose a number for March? Or maybe they were playing against a bunch of mannequins?
I'm telling you, it's gotta be a collective possession by some forgotten shooting deity in March, and then a curse that lifted and reappeared. But if it's real, it begs the question, what changed? Did they suddenly discover a secret shooting drill? Was it a schedule full of extremely low-tier defensive teams? Or did they just have the luckiest 15-game stretch in NBA history, hitting everything from full-court heaves to backwards layups? This isn't just a variance. This is a statistical anomaly that demands a deep dive, Tara. This can't be sustainable.
No way it's sustainable. And the fall in April, almost 18 points below their baseline, confirms it. It means they're likely closer to their February and April numbers than that magical March. So are the Hawks a pretender or a contender? Based on 2/3 of that data, I'm leaning heavily towards pretender. Good luck trying to figure out how to game plan for a team that goes nuclear one month and then cools off dramatically the next. You just hope you catch them in one of their off months.
Exactly. You play them in March, you lose by 30. You play them in February or April, you might just get a win. It's truly wild. Now, speaking of teams who are not having an off month, let's talk about our NBA Power Index. The Oklahoma City Thunder are sitting pretty at number 1 with 75.5 points. Completely deserved. They've been consistently good all season.
Agreed. OKC is legit. But the real stunners in that top 5 for me are the New York Knicks at number 2 with 71.2 points, followed by the Charlotte Hornets at 4 and the San Antonio Spurs at 5. The Nuggets at 3, sure, that makes sense. But the Knicks, Hornets, and Spurs, that's not what I expected at the start of the season.
No, definitely not. The Knicks have obviously bought into something special. They play tough, they're gritty, and their defense has been stifling. But the Hornets and Spurs? Are we seeing the next generation of superstars already blossoming? Or is this a deep playoff run that will surprise us all? Maybe Wemby is finally unlocked, and the Spurs are on their way. And Charlotte, hats off to them. They've been a fun team to watch, but a top 5 power index? That suggests they're not just fun, they're legitimately good.
I think it's a sign of a league that's got some serious parity, or maybe some unexpected breakout performances elevating those teams beyond what we initially thought. The Spurs have talent, but this high, this soon? Color me skeptical for a deep playoff push, but impressed by their regular season surge. And let's quickly hit on some scores. Orlando lost to Detroit 98-83, a pretty low-scoring affair. And our top-ranked OKC took care of business against Phoenix, 121-07. Looks like the Thunder are living up to that number 1 spot.
Absolutely. Moving from the hardwood to the ice, let's talk NHL. The Vegas Golden Knights are still atop our power index at 73.5, which feels right. But right behind them at number 2, the Utah Mammoth at 70 points, and then San Jose at 4 and Buffalo at 5? Tara, are these the Cinderella stories of the NHL, or are we witnessing a massive shift in power in the Western Conference?
Utah Mammoth at number 2, Mike. That's a huge statement. They came into the league with high expectations, but to be challenging Vegas this early is just incredible. And San Jose and Buffalo in the top 5, those are not teams many had penciled in for serious contention. It makes me wonder if some of the traditional powerhouses are underperforming, or if these teams have genuinely built something special. I'm leaning towards genuine builds, especially with Utah. They're playing with something to prove.
I'm with you on Utah. That's a team that's just clicking, from goaltending to their top lines. And we saw a wild one last night. Anaheim and Edmonton combined for 10 goals in a 6-4 Ducks victory. The Oilers, usually a high-flying offense, allowing 6 to Anaheim? That's gotta sting. Then Dallas edged out Minnesota 4-3, and in a classic rivalry game, Philadelphia beat Pittsburgh 5-2.
10 goals, Mike. That's a wild one. But frankly, it says more about Edmonton's defense than Anaheim's offense to let 6 goals in. Speaking of teams with major issues, let's talk about the Boston Bruins. They were on fire in January, 91% winning percentage, over 30 points above their season baseline. Then they dipped to 54% in March. And now in April, they're at a pathetic 33%. That's nearly 27 points below their baseline. What happened to the Bruins machine?
Oh, the Bruins are a mess right now, Tara. It's like they hit January and then just deflated. January was probably an overperformance, but to drop to 33% in April, that suggests fundamental issues. Injuries, locker room problems, goaltending slump, a sudden inability to score. Losing streaks like that, especially after such a dominant start, point to a team that's lost its identity and confidence. I wouldn't be surprised if there are major coaching changes looming if they can't turn this around. This is a team that was supposed to contend.
They went from Stanley Cup contender to potential lottery pick in 3 months. It's baffling. I mean, the playoffs are all about momentum, and they've got negative momentum. If they even make it, they're just going to be an easy out.
Yeah, that's a tough look. Let's shift gears to Major League Soccer. Our power index has the New England Revolution at number 1 with 81.3 points, which is huge. Real Salt Lake at 2, and then Charlotte FC, Atlanta United, and LAFC rounding out the top 5.
New England is absolutely flying high. They just reinforced that by beating Atlanta United 2-1 last night, extending Atlanta's pain. Because, Mike, Atlanta United is on a 5-game losing streak. And it gets worse, the LA Galaxy are also on a 4-game losing streak, including a 2-1 loss to Columbus.
That's a brutal stretch for two clubs that typically have high expectations. Atlanta, a 5-game skid, and then they lose to the number 1 team? That's got to be a real confidence killer. On the flip side, Minnesota United is on a 4-game winning streak, which is impressive. They beat Dallas 1-0 last night, showing they can win the tough defensive battles.
It really paints a picture of 2 distinct halves of the league. You have your soaring Ravs and Minnesota United, and then you have your struggling Atlantas and Galaxies. And for a truly wild game, you absolutely have to mention the NYC Cincinnati 4-4 thriller. 8 goals combined in a single match? That's a feast for any soccer fan. A real back-and-forth nail-biter, I bet.
Absolutely. Pure entertainment. Let's cross the pond to the English Premier League, where Manchester City predictably sits at number 1 in our power index with 88.8 points. They also secured a 1-0 win over Burnley, keeping their momentum. But what is Brighton and Hove Albion doing at number 2, Mike? 88.8 points, just shy of City, and Nottingham Forest at number 5? This isn't the usual suspects list.
Brighton at number 2 is the shocker of the year, Mike. They've always been a solid team, but this is a whole new level. Are they playing out of their minds, or have they truly built a title contender? And Nottingham Forest in the top 5? This is the definition of a changing guard in the EPL, or at least a temporary seismic shift. People always talk about the Big Six, but clearly our power index thinks otherwise. My hot take? Brighton is for real this season. They found a system and players that are just clicking perfectly.
I love that take, Tara. It's exciting to see new blood at the top. But while some teams are soaring, others are in freefall. Tottenham Hotspur is on a brutal 6-game losing streak. 6 games. That's an absolute disaster for a club of their stature. What's going on at Spurs? Is it the manager? Are the players just not buying in?
6 straight losses, Mike? That's managerial dismissal territory in the EPL. The fans must be absolutely furious. A club like Tottenham expects to be challenging for European spots, not plumbing the depths of the league. It points to a complete lack of confidence, maybe a fractured dressing room, and a tactical system that opponents have clearly figured out. They need a major shakeup and fast before the season becomes an unmitigated disaster. From Brighton's high to Tottenham's low, it's a wild league.
From England, let's head over to Spain and La Liga, where Barcelona is our number 1, 79.7 points, and they're on a ridiculous 7-game winning streak, which they extended with a 1-0 win over Celta Vigo. That's pure dominance.
Barcelona is just in a league of their own right now. That 7-game winning streak is just crushing. But then look at number 2, Getafe at 63.6 points, who also won 1-0 against Real Sociedad. And then Real Madrid is only at number 3? What's going on there? Getafe leapfrogging Real Madrid is another massive surprise in European football.
It tells me Getafe is playing incredibly disciplined football, likely with a very strong defense, grinding out those 1-0 wins, while Real Madrid, despite their talent, might be struggling with consistency or perhaps dealing with some key injuries affecting their overall performance. It's a huge statement from Getafe, but you know Real Madrid will be back. Also, some surprising losses there. Atletico Madrid lost to Elche 3-2. That's an upset.
It really is. And the losing streaks are piling up in La Liga too, Mike. Real Betis on a 6-game losing streak, Espanyol also 6, and Sevilla on a 5-game losing streak. What's in the water in Spain? 3 teams in the league simultaneously experiencing such extended slumps is unheard of.
It's a collective crisis for a significant chunk of the league. These are established clubs, too. It suggests a really competitive mid-table where any dip in form is severely punished, or perhaps a lack of squad depth catching up to them. They'll need to figure things out quickly.
Definitely. Over to Major League Baseball, where the Atlanta Braves lead our power index at 66.1 points, with the Chicago Cubs just behind them at 65.8. The Yankees, Tigers, and A's round out the top 5. The A's at 5, Mike? That's a surprise.
A's in the top 5? That's definitely raising some eyebrows. But they do have some momentum, going 63% in March, so maybe they're quietly putting things together.